Reacher star Alan Ritchson returns to Blue Mountain State in sequel series. The cult sports comedy starring Reacher actor Alan Ritchson, Blue Mountain State, is reportedly gearing up for a long-awaited return, as a sequel series is now in the works. According to sources and report by Deadline, the Blue Mountain State sequel will see Ritchson reprise the role of linebacker Kevin "Thad" Devlin Castle, one of his earlier roles, alongside original co-leads Darren Brooks and Chris Romano. The series comes courtesy of Lionsgate Television, and while the report says that the Blue Mountain State sequel series has not fully landed yet, and that negotiations are ongoing, the studio is eyeing Amazon to bring the project to life following their Ritchson-led hit series Reacher. Should Amazon pass, the other likely destination is Netflix, where Blue Mountain State found new audience and cemented its cult status following its original 3-season run on Spike, explains the report. Outside the world of college football, Alan Ritchson will return as the ultimate loner Jack Reacher in Reacher Season 3. The first season of Reacher landed on Prime Video in 2022 and introduces Ritchson as the title character, a former U.S. Army military police major now living as a nomad who suddenly finds himself dragged back into action when he is arrested for murder. The second season, which concluded last month, and is based on the 11th book in author Lee Child's renowned series of novels, picks up with the titular character who, after members of his old military unit start turning up dead, has just one thing on his mind: revenge. It has now been revealed which Lee Child novel the third season of Amazon's Reacher will be based on, with Season 3 taking inspiration from the 7th book by Child, Persuader, meaning that audiences will see Alan Ritchson's action hero going undercover to rescue an informant. The novel, and therefore likely the series, will find Reacher working unofficially with the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and working largely alone, which is just the way he likes it. When Blue Mountain State first hit the airwaves in 2010, it quickly gained a cult following for its outrageous, unapologetically crude humor, over-the-top characters, and no-holds-barred take on the excesses of college life and football culture. At the heart of the series was Alan Ritchson, playing the narcissistic, larger-than-life linebacker Thad Castle. Fast forward more than a decade, and Ritchson has transformed his career, most notably with his portrayal of Jack Reacher in Reacher, the gritty, action-packed series adapted from Lee Child's best-selling novels. But to the delight of longtime fans, it seems that Ritchson is ready to once again step into the absurd and hilarious world of Blue Mountain State in a much-anticipated sequel series. From Thad Castle to Jack Reacher. For anyone familiar with both Blue Mountain State and Reacher, it's almost surreal to reconcile the transformation Alan Ritchson has undergone as an actor. Thad Castle, the character who arguably launched Ritchson's career, was a loud, egotistical, and utterly ridiculous football star whose antics were as crude as they were hilarious. Thad was the type of guy who could throw a tantrum over someone eating his favorite protein bar one minute and then lead a bizarre hazing ritual the next. It's fair to say that Thad Castle represented everything ridiculous about college sports culture, and audiences couldn't get enough. In contrast, Jack Reacher is a man of few words but plenty of action. He's a drifter, a former military police officer, who takes down bad guys with a calm, calculated precision. Ritchson's portrayal of Reacher is rugged, stoic, and magnetic, his physicality and intensity perfectly capturing the essence of the character from Child's novels. The role of Reacher has been a game-changer for Ritchson, proving his versatility as an actor capable of carrying a darker, more serious narrative. Yet, even with his rise to action hero status, the idea of him returning to his comedic roots as Thad Castle is something that fans have long hoped for, and now it's finally happening. The return to Blue Mountain State. The announcement of a Blue Mountain State sequel series came as a welcome surprise to fans who have been clamoring for more of the show since its cancellation in 2011. While the show was short-lived, it left a lasting impression, gaining even more popularity in the years after its run through streaming platforms. The original series followed the misadventures of the Blue Mountain State football team, focusing on the exploits of Alex Moran, Darren Brooks, Sammy Cacciatore, Chris Romano, and, of course, Thad Castle. The show pushed the boundaries of what a college comedy could be, reveling in its raunchiness, while delivering surprisingly sharp satire on sports culture and the absurdity of the college experience. In 2016, the Blue Mountain State team reunited for a feature film, Blue Mountain State: The Rise of Thadland, which served as a continuation of the series. The movie centered on Thad Castle purchasing a massive party house after being drafted into the NFL, turning it into an anarchic paradise known as Thadland. It was a wild ride, but fans were left wanting more. Now, with the sequel series officially in the works, Alan Ritchson's return as Thad Castle is set to bring back the chaotic energy that made the show so beloved. The sequel will reportedly pick up years after the events of Thadland, with Thad Castle returning to Blue Mountain State as an alumni figure. However, instead of being the star player, Thad finds himself in a new role, head coach of the Blue Mountain State Mountain Goats. Thad Castle as head coach, chaos ensues. The idea of Thad Castle, of all people, becoming a head coach is ripe with comedic potential. Fans of the original series will remember that Thad's leadership skills were questionable at best. While he was undeniably dedicated to the game of football and to his own ego, Thad's methods often veered into the absurd. He was a bully, a prankster, and utterly clueless when it came to actual leadership. So what could possibly go wrong with him at the helm of a college football team? The sequel series is expected to explore Thad's adjustment to life as a coach, trying to impart wisdom to a new generation of players while still being the outrageous, self-obsessed character fans know and love. Imagine Thad barking absurd motivational speeches in the locker room, or trying to navigate the complexities of college football politics with the same clueless enthusiasm that made him a standout character in the original series. But while Thad may be the focal point, the show is expected to bring back other familiar faces from the original Blue Mountain State crew. Alex Moran, the perpetually lazy quarterback who never wanted the responsibility of being a star player, will likely have his own unique journey in the sequel, perhaps stepping into a coaching role or continuing his tradition of avoiding hard work at all costs. Sammy, the team's mascot and all-around disaster of a human being, is sure to bring back his trademark chaos as well. Balancing comedy and nostalgia. One of the challenges the sequel series will face is finding the right balance between honoring the original show's outrageous humor and adapting it to a new era. Since Blue Mountain State first aired, the landscape of television comedy has shifted. Shows like Blue Mountain State thrived on shock value and politically incorrect humor, but in today's cultural climate, that type of comedy is more heavily scrutinized. The sequel series will need to strike a balance between staying true to its roots while evolving its humor for a more modern audience. That being said, the core of what made Blue Mountain State great was its irreverence. It was a show that never took itself too seriously and was unapologetically absurd in its portrayal of college life. Thad Castle, with his mix of macho arrogance and childlike stupidity, embodied that spirit perfectly. And while Ritchson has evolved as an actor, his ability to step back into the role of Thad Castle after years of playing more serious, action-oriented characters shows his range and willingness to embrace the ridiculous. What to expect from the sequel? As details about the sequel continue to emerge, fans can expect a show that delivers on nostalgia while exploring new comedic territory. Thad Castle as a head coach offers endless opportunities for laughs, and the potential return of other fan-favorite characters will only add to the excitement. The sequel series will likely explore how the world of college football has changed since the original show, perhaps poking fun at the growing,